laziness, it's actually efficiency. Our brain is behaving quite different.
Yeah, I get it, but you
Yeah,
know,
but they don't.
can you tell it to them? Those people who aren't willing to learn just treat us like, oh, that's just an excuse, you know.
Yeah.
And that is, and
Yeah.
she had like she had trouble focusing in class, and she had trouble because like she really liked drawing, and whenever she would get into drawing, she would just get so
Into.
immersed. Yes, like she told me she would start drawing, and then all of a sudden she would just realize, like, wake up, and there was no one in class, and
Yeah.
her classmate would just run up to her like, hey, we have a class elsewhere. Hello. Like, what? Where's everyone?
Yeah. I know that I have a friend with that problem as well. Like exactly like that. Yeah, it's pretty common. It's
Like,
pretty common.
I'm really. I would like to see some data, like just how common. Like, I hear so many people. At least
So
where
many
I look at like there are people always like with HDD and stuff now. Like, just how common is this really? Like,
It's pretty common.
Oh,
Yeah, but it's not a bad thing
I mean, it's
because we're good at multitasking. Hey, that's one thing.
or full on tasking. You know, being super focused on one thing.
Yeah.
Like that's something that I could probably take because I have a bit of trouble. I don't have ADHD. I do, like, whenever I study, I always, like, because I have second monitor, I play something in the background video, and then end up just watching the video more than studying.
Well, that's called distraction.
Yeah, it's called distraction. It's called also procrastination if you do it too much. But good thing that I found is when I do like pick up and I do go and draw, I do get quite focused and I don't get distracted. So at least that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's just I haven't really drawn that much. Like, to give you an idea, I drew like once a year. But I do want to, like, I don't know if you guys want, I can show you like the latest drawing that I made, but take this as a study. It wasn't like I drew this just out of my mind. I was trying to replicate an image. So, okay. Where can I send it? To the pictures?
Pictures, free chat, no mic, whatever you want.
Because this is a voice channel, it doesn't have chat in it, unfortunately.
At the top there is like no mic of the voice chat.
Okay, I'll put it in there, no mic. And this was like over a year ago. And I was like, oh, maybe it could be, but then because I'm just so like afraid of making a mistake, because it's just normal, because I had only begun, but
it's bad that we were taught that we should be afraid and not make mistakes, because that's so false. We need to make mistakes to learn from them.
You know what I think the cause is? I think partly this is the result of like how the school system is constructed.
Yes.
Because one of the things in school is like what matters is the results, and that's all that matters. It doesn't matter like
how much you want to
study. Maybe, but it doesn't matter how, but all that matters is that you answer right on test or something, and then you get a good grade. And just by that, like this is also like also here in university, like it doesn't matter what you've done, like all that matters is you answer the right questions and that's it. Which like really just emphasizes cheating and procrastination. Because, you know, if you think about it, why study for 3 months for just at the end when you can just cram the answers the day before and still pass? Right? It doesn't make sense. And teachers try all their best to prevent it, but the people are just going to find another way to go around the system.
Yes.
Either. And also, like, when you get a bad grade in school, like you have to get multiple good grades in order to quote unquote repair the bad grade, because of the way the whole grade calculation system works. So it's like fail, and if you get too many bad grades and if you fail from class, then you have to repeat a year, which isn't a death sentence, but that's how it feels to everyone, because that's like, man, you fucked up. And yeah, like from that, it just makes you feel like you can't make mistakes, because if you screw up, you're gonna fall behind. You know, you're gonna do this and do that. But
Yeah.
now I'm sort of trying to get myself off that, you know, 'cause that prevents me from really trying anything new. And also, given this topic, one must be careful to stay away from, because, you know, there are a lot of those self-help gurus and stuff like that try to take advantage of such people by saying something but not really saying anything, and just trying to get as much money from people as possible. So yeah, that's one thing I fell into, but thankfully got out of, because that was not helpful.
Yeah.
Could be like some of it is, but it's
You
like,
can get a psychologist that will actually do something with it.
like,
Yeah. Instead of, you know.
yeah, like I'm personally, like, for example, very interested in like Japan's mental health struggles. Like,
Oh,
whether
yeah.
it's like hikikomori, have you heard of them? Hikikomori.
Do you know the anime that NHK something, whatever, I don't know, what was it?
Yeah.
There is anime about that.
NHK and Yo.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah, I watched it.
I did.
Yeah, so those guys, it is sort of like an artistic version of it, but basically the definition is that hikikomori is a person who like is holes up in their home for like a year, 2 or so, and just doesn't go anywhere or does anything. And oftentimes these people are also NEETs. NEET is a shortcut for no education, employment, or training. So for them to find a job in the first place, it's extremely hard. And you know, for them, like, yeah, it is just either to just watch anime and do nothing and stuff like that. But like partly I understand them, because like getting a job like in Japan, also the cost of university is high. Like there's just so much pressure
Yes.
on students and someone to do well, because if you don't do well and if you don't comply, if you don't follow the rules exactly, and if you don't have black hair and stuff like that, like you're gonna be kicked out. Like some people decide, you know what, I'm not gonna take this bullshit anymore. Sorry
Like
for bad
racism.
language, and they just do this. Like it's not worth it. And in that way, like I understand it, which is why I think Japan should take steps to sort of prevent this. But like the big problem, I think one of the major ones is the age of the population in Japan. Like about 30% of Japan's population is more than 60 years old, and a lot of these people are in governmental positions, right? They're CEOs and stuff like that, so they're the ones who you know, guide the country, sort of. They're the ones that set the rules. And there was, I don't know if you heard of it, there was a economic boom in Japan in about 1980 approximately. That's when Japan sort of skyrocketed as an economy, primarily thanks to like automobile business and stuff like that. And they just became boom. They became one of the biggest economies, and they were, you know, working very hard. Everyone moved into, like, people were moving to cities to work and so on and so forth. But then there was bubble, and the bubble burst. The economy just tanked, and from then on it fell completely down. But the problem is that these old people think that by continuing doing things the way they did before, like working hard, working long hours and stuff like that, that's going to sort of bring Japan back. Like, in their mind, like, this is how we got the economic boom, so this is how we're gonna, you know, improve the economy now. But it doesn't work. And I would like to be more optimistic about it, but I don't think these old people are willing to learn, because couple this with the fact that Japan has a collectivist mindset, in that, in comparison, whereas here in the West, anywhere as well, like, an individual is emphasized, there it's the group that's emphasized. And the reason is because Japan historically had a lot of natural disasters, right? They have a lot of earthquakes, they have a lot of typhoons, they have a lot of tsunamis. And as a result, they had to stick together. They had to work together to overcome those disasters and stuff like that, because if people just acted on their own and stuff like that, it could bring the disaster. And that's the result of, like, that's the result of how they are today. But the problem is, like, you know, this is keeping, like part of what this means is not taking any new ideas in, right? Because anything new, any new idea or something could disrupt the order. It could disrupt what they've known up until then. That's no good. But thankfully, the younger generation is really realizing this, and they are different than the older generation. But given that they're not wanting to learn, I think it's gonna. I know it sounds morbid, but I think it'll take the older generation to die in order for Japan to really change.
Yeah.
And that might not be very soon, because Japan has a very long like Japanese people have a very long lifespan. So
Yeah. I think it's because they eat a lot of rice.
I mean, they have. There's a lot of fish they eat, stuff like that, and also they have like. I think also exercising and so on is highly emphasized. I think maybe there's also a little bit of not unacceptance. Like there's like a beauty standard.
Yes.
Like if you're fat and so on, like you're gonna be ridiculed. Maybe, I'm not sure.
Oh god.
I'm sure that it does exist in Korea. Like girls, they have to be like thin and like weight is taken super seriously, which is just unhealthy as hell. Like a girl weighing 45 kilograms, like god freaking damn it, man. Like I don't want to date like a skeleton.
Yeah, but if she's like very short, then it might be actually normal.
Like, yeah, if she's short, but I mean, how short? I mean, 140. No, there are like 150 centimeters or so, but still, I mean, it's there must be some form of. I think it would be great if there was some form of regulation. Like, this is how much minimum amount of that you need to have, and that's it. Like, and if they so much desire those companies and so on to have like idols and stuff like that who are very thin and so on, then just make a VTuber company and just make a model that's that thin, and that's fine. You're not hurting anyone. And you can make a girl, and you can also modify her however you want throughout the course. So like, there's no problem. Like I sort of study and I look at trends and so on, what's going on in Japan, so because I am interested in it in general. Like when I would go there, I would love to just talk to a random Japanese person, like how's their life and what's their viewpoint and stuff like that. Because I'm just, I mean, I don't know if it's like passion or something, but like I can't explain it. It's just I feel like a fire in my heart whenever it's like doing this. Like I remember I discovered the Japanese musical in my country. Didn't even know that there was, but there was, and there was a library also with like manga in raw Japanese, stuff like that. And as I was going out, some Japanese guy came out of somewhere, and I don't know, he worked there definitely. I don't know in what position. And I just couldn't help immediately, konnichiwa, and I just went in and tried to talk to him, and we talked for a little bit and stuff. Then we left. Like I was just so excited to talk to him.
I doubt that's too like this. Sort of that how feeling.
Sorry, I didn't hear you properly.
Never mind.
Okay. So like, I think first, like my first contact was actually not far from that musical. There were like two grandmas that were taking a photo of a statue, and I was like, I didn't know at first because it is kind of hard to just by looks judge whether a person is Japanese or Chinese or Korean. But then I heard them like talking in Japanese, and I couldn't help like just take the chance to finally talk with someone like face to face, because I did talk Japanese people online through like Line. They use that as their like messaging service, but never like in person. So I see them like ask them how's their day, like are they on the trip and stuff like that. And took a photo and well, it was just short because then they were going out. But man, I just felt so happy, and I then because I was going through with my family, and my aunt. Once I came back to them, my aunt was like, couldn't you find younger girls to talk to? Like, what younger? There aren't any. It's, I don't really take it as like a bad thing or something, but I just never had a girlfriend, so it's like, and now also my sister is getting married, so kind of also thank you. There'll be a thing like late
I mean,
this year.
my brother is soon 30 and he doesn't have a job yet, so it's all nice. My
your
brother.
brother's son?
He's almost 30 and he still doesn't have a job. So it's all nice.
Did he have one though? In the past? Or
Yeah, probably, but still, it's alright. Nowadays, we live
like,
so long, so you still have time.
like right now, I'm sort of fine with it because like I see it as opportunity to like I have time to draw and stuff like this, to put time in this more, because then I won't have as much time for it. So this was something that, like, when I was 18, this was sort of like I was taking this very personally, like why, like what's the problem and stuff like that. Like, despite me like being a normal person and so on, but I mean, I can't really blame anyone but myself, sort of, because like I stayed a lot at home, didn't really go out that much.
Still,
And
you don't have to be
like,
that person.
even like even then, it's like it's up to the girls. Like, come on, if they were that interested, they would probably ask me. You know? Like, you can't control another person, like, just because.
Yeah, but do not depend that girls will go and approach you, because I mean I am that girl who will go and approach, but even though it's 2022, girls still really like to be approached. So,
Yeah, I think so. And like, I don't know if you may believe it or not, but I did this little stunt. Some years ago, this is a bit different, but some years ago, you know, there's like annually a Women's Day, and one day in the past, because I always buy flowers, I buy some roses, one for my mom, one for my sister, and one for my grandma. And at the time when I bought it, I wished Happy Women's Day to the women in the shop. They were like all so touched because I'm the first one that congratulated them.
oh,
They were like, oh. And I was like, this year I was like, huh, you know, like I wanted to try to replicate that, but try to do something else. Like, I wanted to wish just some random girl or woman just Happy Women's Day. So
nice.
I didn't buy just 3 flowers. I bought 3 flowers, but I also bought a small chocolate. And I looked around the shopping mall for some female employee or someone that just wasn't busy with customers or stuff like that, because I didn't want to disturb or something. And I went to the bookshop, and there I found some one employee. She was walking around and checking, and at right immediately was like, man, don't do this, man, don't do this, it's fucking embarrassing, you know. And like, was trying to prevent me from doing anything.